Alright, Jared Randall here with the news from not so far north update. These have been few and far between, but that's okay. That's how things are right now. The sun is with me, the sun is behind me. The sun shines on us all. And so, yeah, big message came through yesterday, actually. I'm just now getting a moment to record. It came through extremely intense with a lot of personalities coming through. And the overall message has to do with the election coming up in the United States, November 5th. This is not a go out and vote message, although I hope if you feel that is something you should do, then you follow that impulse. This is not going to be a message about who you should vote for. Spirit is saying there are two very different choices here, and the world that will result from each different choice is very different. And there will be both what we would call, what we can call positive and negative results to either choice. It is not the case that one choice is completely 100% better than the other choice. In terms of the world that will result, if that's what you're concerned with. Of course, you should vote with your conscience. That is clear. You should vote with complete 100% awareness. And a person's character should more heavily figure into your choices than I think a lot of people are pulling into their choice. All that said, in terms of if you're to vote with your conscience, know who you're voting for. Know who that person is, and weigh that against the other person. That's coming through strongly. But that's not really the message. The message is for energy workers post-election. It doesn't matter what the result is. Energy workers who are unprepared for this are going to potentially be thrown for a loop, because the energies after the election are going to be all over the place. There are going to be extremely intense energies coming in, and if you're an energy worker, then you are going to feel that. It's going to be strong. It's going to be potentially very confusing. It's going to just be a lot of intensity potentially. This may not be for everyone, but it is meant to prepare, and it doesn't matter how many people watch this. That's not how this works. How it works is we inject an energy, a message out into the world, and that energy and that message is picked up, and it steamrolls, and it snowballs. And it's not about a particular channel or how many viewers they have or how many subscribers they have. That's not how it works. In any case, the election's going to throw energy workers who are unprepared for a loop, and energy workers who are extremely tied to one or the other result are going to have the most difficult time with this, whether your side wins or loses. If you're an energy worker, you're being called to be above that. You're being called to understand that your place is to help the energies flow and dissipate that need to flow and dissipate, help the energies come in and ground that need to come in and really be grounded into place. And there will be energies that must be negotiated, right? Because it doesn't matter what decisions are made with this election, there will be ongoing energetic challenges, negotiations, disruptions, perhaps what we might call warfare or strife between energies. I don't know if you saw the bird flying in the background there. Confirmations. And this all also has to do with timelines. How timelines branch off, how they come together. At this time there are timelines coming together, there will also be an extreme branching of timelines, as you can imagine. There will be two major chunks of timeline as everything's coming together, and those two major chunks will then split off from each other, and then there will be, from that point, those timelines will splinter. But there is a junction point here, a coming together point. And yeah, that's because that's how timelines work. And this is important because it doesn't matter which one you're experiencing consciously. If you're an energy worker, you're going to be feeling all of it swirling. And you're going to be contributing to a particular timeline that you're conscious of quite heavily. But understand that there are many other timelines that will be branching off, splintering. This is all going to be happening, and this is a major node, if you will, of timelines coming together over the next week, and then again timelines branching, splintering, going every which way. Overall, the timeline work that we're doing is aiming to bring many timelines that might seem quite different from each other, quite disparate from each other, back together at some extremely crucial point, extremely decisive point. But that's off in the future yet. That's off, 6 or 7 years from now. There's going to be a lot going on. And so that's the last part of this message, is to not lose heart, because you may feel like you want to see a certain timeline and then you will not see it. You'll wake up as I did in 2016 after the election day, and the timeline you were aiming for is not the one that you're on. And this can be disheartening. This can feel like it doesn't work, right? The energy work that I'm doing doesn't work. It's not effective. And that's not the case. If you're an energy worker, then you have given permission to go along the timeline where you're needed, and your consciousness will be split between many different timelines, and trust that you'll be experiencing some of those other timelines, all those other timelines. You will be, but you're only conscious in a constant way of that one major one that you're really super conscious of, right? That your 3D life is connected to. That doesn't mean you can't connect to those other timelines, and in fact, you can and you should. You should be looking for that. As energy workers, that is a key part of our work. And in terms of the shamanistic path, in terms of ancient druidic practice, I'm not talking about the folks who consider themselves to be in a druidic tradition, you know, that has been handed down to them. That's a very different specific thing. Anciently, and then we're talking about, you know, tens of thousands of years ago, the druids were all about tending timelines, as if tending trees, as if tending a garden. And this role has been, well, for a while it was all but eliminated, because anyone who did that work was persecuted and killed. And we're coming back. That's what's happening right now. We're coming back and we're doing that work again. And it doesn't have to be formalized. In some timelines it will be more formalized, in other timelines it will be almost not formalized at all. But it's going to be increasing again. And it is increasing again. And so as an energy worker, that's what you're engaging with, partially at least, is the pruning of energies, the pruning of timelines, the channeling of energies, the channeling of departed souls, the channeling of animals that you find, you know, who have died, especially animals who have died suddenly, say roadkill, by accident and such. This is work that our ancient ancestors did, and they were aware of it, and they were conscious of it, and we're becoming more and more conscious of it. And so when you open yourself up to the possibility of that, to be an energy worker, then you are agreeing that, okay, what timeline I end up on is that I'm conscious of. And again, there will be a version of you that's conscious of other ones, but the one that I think that I am, right, on this linear path of this ego life that I remember. And that's not a negative thing. Everyone has an ego life that they remember, versus all the subconscious and the other timelines that you're branching away from, right? And then sometimes merging back up with. That's, you're agreeing to that. So if you don't want that, understand that. Maybe you don't want to be an energy worker, because some of us are going to experience some extreme things, some extreme timelines, and are going to have extremely important work to do in those timelines. You know, like heroic level work to do. But even in the more tame, energetically tame timelines, there's going to be a lot of work to do. In some ways, those are the harder timelines to work on, because things are not so black and white. Things are not so out there. The energies are subtle, and so it takes a level of, well, and this is coming through yesterday. If you have, you know, ever sat under the tutelage of Jesus, then there's a line, which is, to be innocent as a dove and wise as a serpent or a snake, right? So that's what is required on these less bombastic, more subtle, energetic timelines. And so understand that. At this time, you may be getting all kinds of hints at what's coming, and understand that as an energy worker, it's not our job to make predictions. And you know, the use in ancient times that kings and emperors and empresses and queens and made of, you know, fortune tellers, those were energy workers who sometimes were coerced, sometimes it was just their mode of being able to survive in the world, of, you know, not being rejected, of, you know, all kinds of things. At times, those energy workers, those magicians, those witches, those druids, those shamans, what have you, were the push is always to serve the leader, the ruler, right? Who wants to control. And that is always, you know, the big reason why there was a huge purge was not so much because Christianity came in and purged the druids and the shamans and so on, and the witches. It was because in too many cases, energy workers were allowing themselves to be tied to a particular leader, and then that power is abused, and it's used to coerce a timeline, to control things, to control people. And that's not what this is all about. This is all about many, many timelines running and being, the energies working out, and then at higher levels we're picking and choosing between what we're seeing and saying, okay, we want this one. And that's why timelines come back in together, because at higher levels we're all of us, not just energy workers, all of us are making those decisions together, and it's those decisions for all of us to make. And one of the problems on Earth is that we've had times where only the leader and a few, say, powerful, you know, energy workers are trying to coerce at this level where things are going. And there's all kinds of energetic battles at higher levels. People who think that everything is just hunky-dory at the 5D or the 6D or the 7th dimension, and there's no struggle there, there's no warring or battle there, like, you're wrong. No, there is struggle there, but it's different also. It's much different, and depending on the level that you're at, things are less combative, let's say. At the 5th dimension, connected to the earth plane, things are combative. Okay? And that is one of the things that is happening as many more of us awaken to 5th dimensional energies. That's where timelines converge and split, converge and split, converge and split. This is why I've been saying, Spirit has been having me give the message for weeks and months now, that you don't, when you're in this body, you don't just sit at the 5th dimension, and you don't get to the 5th dimension and live at the 5th dimension. Like, these are not really constructive ways of thinking about the 5th dimension. They don't really match what's really going on. Okay, so be careful of that also at this time. And that's mostly it. I'm also going to give, and this just came in really in the last couple of days, that the Spirit is, what's the right word? Having me implement a program where I will be taking on 3 people who are ready to do a lot of work in terms of basically training. Imagine training to be a Jedi. That's kind of what we're talking about. Not the lightsaber part, but the energy part, the working with energies part. To do a lot of work in nature, a lot of work in becoming more and more sensitive to energies, being sensitive to all kinds of messages coming in from all kinds of beings, and even from what we don't consider a being, you know, from a rock, from a broken tree branch, from, you know, how the water is gurgling at you at the moment. I mean, it's there's a lot. Everything's constantly talking to us. The whole universe is conscious, and we need more and more people to be listening to that. And again, in terms of being an energy worker, we need more folks who are more and more conscious of that work. So this is sort of what we would call shamanic or druidic work. It is this is not going to be something you have to pay for. You're not going to pay me to do this. That's not how this is going to work. That's why I'll be taking 3 people. I will be coming up with basically an application process that I expect will take, you know, probably till the Yule time, and, you know, in December is when the decision will be made on what 3 people I'll be taking on. And then it will be a lot of communication. It will be probably almost daily communications. There will be assignments. There will be things that we do together, and things that we do one-on-one, the 3 folks who are chosen and myself. And yeah, so that is coming in. And again, it is not going to be something you pay for. It's not something, again, if you don't want to be an energy worker who ends up on, you know, who knows what timeline to do who knows what, then this is not for you. Okay? This is serious applicants only. There's no process yet. As this is new for me too. That process will be coming in. I'm already getting bits and pieces of it, yeah, there will probably be at times even some face-to-face stuff for that may come into it. So there may be some travel. So just to put that out there, and that is just to get anyone who's listening to start considering if that's something for you. So that's it from me today. And one last thing, this is not about fear, this whole message. So if you are an energy worker, this is not about, once the election happens, you don't worry about it. Again, fear and worry this is one of the number 1 lessons. Fear and worry is something that the lesson is you don't push it down. You don't put it away. You don't shove it into a closet. You let it flow in and through you. You take the messages from it, and then you let it flow through. And you don't get bogged down in it. So that's, again, there's potentially going to be a lot coming in that may be described as the energy of fear and worry. And so don't get bogged down in it. And if you start seeing things out in the world that aren't the things you want to see, understand in the bigger picture of things, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're doing what we need to do, and we're negotiating the energies that need to be negotiated. And there are energies that will be passing away, and it doesn't matter what timeline you're on, there will be energies that are passing away. And that's the last message. Everything always comes back to love. We're living in a universe that love is the organizing principle, period. And what we think of as gravity, as a force, as an organizing principle, is like this with love. Okay, everything comes back together. That's gravity. That's love. Everything does. Everyone does. Okay. So be at peace. Much love and light to you. All that you can stand, sending it your way at this time.